In the last video, I had completed the institution which devoted to the cause of science, and there are some scientific inventions that happen in different fields. In textile, we have seen there are so many invention has happened. First, their machine was very slow of weaving a textile cloth, and after that, after a period of time, they had made such kind of machine which are very fast and smart. Then metallurgy in metal industry, England had a number of iron mines. Mines means you can see in the KGF movie. England had a number of mines, but it was necessary to advance the techniques of smelting in order to acquire pure iron from it. Clear? So England already had a number of iron mines, but it was necessary to advance the technique of smelting. England already have number of minings places, but they want to advance the techniques of smelting to acquire a pure iron from it. So obviously the technology should be required if they want to acquire a pure iron form from it. Gradually the fuel for iron furnace, okay, gradually the fuel which required to mine that iron furnace was replaced from wood to coal. So before for the fuel the was using wood before uh, to run the machine in mining. There were machine, so there were machine was moving with the help of wood, then it was converted into the coal. It facilitated the creation of furnace that could attain much higher temperature, and through coal it facilitated there was a temperature was much higher, increased production of iron. And because of this wood to coal, when they have moved to wood to coal, so the machine was increases and it produces more iron. Later the special machines were made to keep furnace burning. Later the special machines later the special machines were made to keep the furnace burning a set of temperature to maintain its aeration. So then special machines were made to keep the temperature, maintain its aeration. In 1865, the process of producing steel. In 1865, this process of producing steel from a molten iron was invented. And the nature of iron industry underwent major transformation. So in 1865 there was a major revolution was happened because there was a machine was invented to obtain a steel from a iron. Okay, to obtain a steel from a iron, and at about the same time a method was developed, and, and at the same time there was a method was developed to pour a metal into cast for making iron bars, for example rails. So for example at the time 1865 there was a machine was invented to obtain steel from iron, and at the same time they have already understand how to cast iron bars. Okay, iron bars. Clear? And now let's talk about the use of machines. Okay, there was a use of machine. Once a machine proved effective for one industry, people tried to test its usefulness for its other industry too. So obviously once the machine was useful for one factory, so uh, then it is useful for other industry too. So people started getting interested in those machines which are very useful, and this attempt resulted into invention of a newer machine. And because of this attempt, people started attempting uh, and the invention of a new machine. It set in 1783. Thomas Bell. In 1783, Thomas Bell made a machine for cylinder or a roller printing on fabric. Okay, machine for cylinder or a roller printing on fabric. So Thomas Bell in 1783 made a machines for printing on fabric on a cylinder. By 1809, a machine came in use of sticking together the heels and soles and show. So specifically, there were different types of machines are inventing by the different people, right? Because there was a need. So here the machine Thomas Bell has made a printing on fabric. Then after that, there was a shoe sticking sole on shoe machine was already made, and tailoring machine were made. James Watt invented steam engine. So tailoring machine were also made. James Watt invented a steam engine. In the beginning of this engine was only used for transport coal and iron out of mines. So James Watt had made a steam engine, and this steam engine was only used for transporting the coal and iron on starting. Okay, and later this steam engine powered machinery came to use. And later, first it was only used for transporting the coal from iron and coal from minings, and after a period of time it was started using in textile industry. Okay, and in course of time this steam engine were used to use or is also used in agriculture sector like ploughing, harvesting, grass cutting machine were made, and this machine could complete the agriculture operations in a very short time, and this type of machine were also used in short time. And in America, the Robert Fulton, an engineer, successfully sailed the steamboat. So an engineer, Robert Fulton, successfully sailed a steamboat which was named Clermont. The first attempt of using steam engine, there was a first attempt was using steam engine in road transport was done by George Stephenson. A steam engine for railway was also produced. A railway engine could successfully cut distance the Liverpool to Manchester. Later railway service was expanded through Europe and it shortened the time of travel within Europe. So just imagine that the people have made now the steam engine are using on railway transport. But if I talk about the steam engine was started for mining coal and iron. After a period of time they went to agriculture, then road transport, then railway transport. Now specifically the steam engine, if you talk, so the people come in mind the railway, but it was not railway, it was started, it was used to something else, right? So these are the use of machine at that time, the Renaissance period it was started. Clear? Now there were some geographic discovery and explorer. The one by one we will try and understand that. Geographic discovery and explorer. So Marco Polo was the first person. He was an explorer. Now, like whatever we will learn, we will talk about the traveler. A traveler who travel for some reason. The Marco Polo, he was an Italian traveler and introduced a China. He introduced a China through the Europe and other Asian countries to Europe. He introduced China and other Asian countries to Europe, and he stayed in China at a royal court of Kublai Khan. He stayed in China also. Then he studied the Mongolian and Chinese language. So Macropole is a person who had introduced China and other Asian countries to Europe people, and he stayed in China and he learned a Mongolian and Chinese languages. Okay. Ibn Battuta was a scholar and famous medieval traveler. So Ibn Battuta is a medieval traveler and he visited India, Maldives, Sumatra, China. He visited some China, Spain, Sardinia, West Africa for various reasons. So Ibn Battuta is a person he visited India and other countries for various reasons. He was an Italian traveler. Okay. So the Henry the Navigator. Henry the Navigator is from 15th century, which means nearby 1400, and he was a prince of Portugal. Henry the Navigator is a prince. Prince of what? Prince of Portugal. He encourages people to go on. So the Prince of Portugal is encouraging the other people to go for expedition. Expedition means travel somewhere and explore something. Search for lands which were not known till then. So at that time which were not known till then. So he was a Prince of Portugal. He is encouraging other people to go on other land and explore them. And those expeditions resulted into the discovery of Madeira and Azore, two archipelagos near Africa. So he and because of his discovery, he had made two areas, and these two autonomous region of Portugal, and these two are the autonomous region of Portugal. The Portuguese began to transport African. These Portuguese people are began to transport African people to sell as slaves gold and brought back to Portugal by these people. Portugal people are very smart. They are selling them the African people to and after selling them they are getting the gold. Okay. Bar- Bartholomew Dias. Dias began his expedition on the orders of the king of Portugal. So he was following the order of the Portugal king John II. John II, and he reached the southern tip of the Africa, which means the upper part of the Africa, which he named the Cape of Storm. Later the name was changed the Cape of Good Hope, and he was the first seafarer circumnavigate the African continent. He was the first person who had traveled the whole Africa. Clear?